My God, what a game. What a fucking game. Now, look, I live streamed the game on this YouTube channel. I also live streamed the game on TikTok. And I'm sitting there and I'm just accepting defeat. And by the way, I'm accepting defeat. I'm talking in the fourth quarter, I am accepting defeat. When the Rams start driving and it becomes evident that they're in field goal range and, it's going to take a little bit of a minor miracle, I'm saying, okay, you know what, they're going to lose this game. And I was okay with it. I actually said on both feeds, like, look, what are the odds they block 2 field goals in the same game? Probably slim and none. And I was okay with it because I liked the fight that the Eagles had in this game. The Eagles easily could have packed it in, went home, and said, that's it. Look, it wasn't our day. We look like shit. We'll regroup and blah, blah. And they didn't. So as I'm sitting on my couch and I'm watching the game and I'm like accepting this defeat that I think is imminent, who shuts me up? Jordan Davis shuts me up. Now, I posted a video this week that you can find, I don't know where I'll put it, over here, I guess. Just calling him a bust, saying he's the third defensive tackle. He was drafted 12th overall. Like, what has he really done? And I will still say, up into this game, he hadn't really done much. This was the Jordan Davis game. Like, this was the game that they had been waiting for. And I'm going to get into all of that in a separate video. But this is a tale of two games. I mean, this is really like, it was a tale of two halves. This reminded me a little bit of the Dallas game where you had the offense looking really, really, really good in the first half. The defense looked dreadful, and then they flipped, where in the second half, the defense stepped up. The defense shut Dallas down. The offense looked stagnant. And we kind of saw the offense look stagnant for, the complete next game against the Chiefs and then the first half of this game. I don't know what the offense was doing. I think a lot of people were saying the same thing. I know on both my chats, a lot of fire Kevin Petula comments, and I still stand by the fact that I think it's more Nick Sirianni meddling than Kevin Petula as an OC, just because we've seen two rookie OCs under Nick Sirianni look like they don't know what they're doing. But whatever the adjustment was in the second half by either Petula or by Nick Sirianni, I don't know who stepped out of it, whatever. It doesn't matter. It worked. This is going to shock everybody out there. When you get number 11 the ball, I forget the guy's name. I think it's like a color. It might be black or orange. No, brown. When you get number 11 Brown the ball, good things happen. And finally we saw a performance from A.J. Brown. It's not like he's not trying, but it wasn't just the catches, the big-time catches. It was him little boying defenders. It was him throwing them to the side, picking up extra yardage. Like, this was frustrated A.J. Brown taking it out on L.A. Rams secondary. We've still really yet to see a really, really strong performance from Saquon Barkley, and I think you saw in this game, especially in the first half, L.A. making a prioritized effort to stack the box and take away that run game because they got so diced up in the playoffs against Saquon Barkley. And he had a couple here or there, but I think if you look at the stats, it's probably not anything to write home about. For me, though, the loss of Lane Johnson was big, and hopefully he'll be fine. Hopefully he'll be back the next game, because you see the impact that Lane Johnson has. But to go back to the play calling a little bit, whoever it was, and I think it was Sirianni. A lot of people will blame Kevin Petula for the first half gaffes. We'll probably never know until Tim McManus writes an article about it. But for that first half, the offense was so unbelievably predictable that on my stream, when it was 3rd and 15, and 3 minutes left in the half or whatever, I said, "Oh, they're going to do a delayed draw play to Saquon." Because they've done this the last 4 times. It's been 3rd and long. They just do a draw play to Saquon. Sure enough, they did a draw play to Saquon. You've got Matt Pryor in for Lane Johnson. You end up doing a play action dump off to Saquon Barkley on Matt Pryor's side. Like, it was very, very, very confusing play calling, and it was just vanilla, watered down, high schoolish. The play calling we saw in the second half was more of what we, as Eagles fans, have come to expect from this team. They had 33 yards of total offense in the first half. It was dreadful. It was about as bad as you could get. They were being saved and bailed out by Zach Vaughn, who seemed to be the only guy in the first half that showed up. But, man, that second half, the adjustments on both ends paid off big. I don't think Matthew Stafford played well in this game at all. I don't think he was very accurate. I know a lot of people, and myself in the moment, thought that it was a pass interference against Devontae Adams, but I thought it evened out with A.J. Brown's pass interference in the end zone that I thought he should have gotten called for. I thought he pushed off in the end zone, but, they didn't call it, right? But I loved the fight of this Eagles team in this game. As I said, they could have packed it up. And I think the 2023 Eagles would have packed it up. I think you saw the growth from the players that were on that team. I think you saw the learning and maturity of a Jalen Hurts who was on that team, who's the quarterback, and to not let it go by the wayside. And, obviously, look, there was tons of time, but I know people in my chat and my lives, like, when they went down, even at one point, it was 13-7, and people were like, they're losing this game. I was like, whoa, there's a lot of time left. Tons of time. It's a one-score game. But when you're down 23-7 at home and you're getting embarrassed, you're getting booed off the field, it's easy to just go like, look, man, we'll just fight for another day. They didn't. And I think that is very impressive. And I have shit on Nick Sirianni a lot. And I will probably continue to shit on Sirianni if I'm being honest with myself, all right? Like I say I lead the league in self-awareness, and I know myself. I'm probably going to continue to shit on him. In this particular instance, to not let this game get out of hand and to get the train back on the tracks and to put them in a position to win this game late was massive. I don't think Jalen was as accurate. I think Jalen and Matthew Stafford both weren't like the sharpest. But then again, in the second half, when he needed to, like Jalen Hurts started balling out and started throwing it and got him back into it. And it's even more impressive when you factor in that everybody in the building, including the Rams, knew they had to throw to get back into it, and they couldn't stop him. So really, really, really strong win. I think this is a character win. Like, as I said, this was a loss that if the Eagles were to drop to 2-1 and they lose to the Rams, I'm not overreacting. I said it before the season. Like, they're going to lose a game here and there. It's going to happen. They're a really good football team. It's how they lose the games. I wouldn't have been mad if they lost this game because they fought to get back into it. If what I saw in the first half continued in the second half, that would have been my main talking point. Was like, how do you come out this flat for 4 quarters? And really, it's like, at that point, 10 straight quarters. But it didn't happen. And I wouldn't have gotten mad if they lost the game. Doesn't matter. They didn't lose the game because Jordan Davis came up clutch. And by the way, covered. How about that? Good teams win. Great teams covered. But that, I think, is an indictment of how this Eagles team is a very good team. Because I was getting, like, in the comments on TikTok, like, fraud check. Like, no. Like, good teams win this game. They find ways to win this game. And the Eagles found a way to win this game. Wasn't clean. Wasn't the best performance. We all know that. They found a way to win this game. And kudos to them. 3-0. Gotta love it. A lot better than a loss, am I right? Obviously, the talking points on Sports Radio tomorrow will be more of, okay, they won. That was cool. But, and then it'll be the play calling. But, like, just soak in what we watch. Because you don't, the last time I remember a game like this was probably the double doink game. And then before that, it had to be like the Quentin Michael, Matt Ware from like 2004 against San Diego, maybe, where they blocked it to win the game. But yeah, big shout out to Jordan Davis, who I shit on this week. He shut me up, and obviously, as always, go Bears. As many of you guys know, I come from a sports radio background. Sports radio, we have this thing: you don't admit defeat. You never say you're wrong. Oh, I said that this team was going to win and they didn't win. Let's just pretend that never happened. Let's just move on. And that for a lot of people, that's what they do. I was never that way. All right, I will tell you when I'm wrong because we're talking sports. We're wrong 50% of the time. And sometimes you put out a video or you say something on the air and you rip a guy. And then sometimes that guy comes back very, very soon after and shuts you the fuck up. And this week that happened to me with Jordan Davis, and I can't be happier. I put out a video, and I'll put it up, I don't know, in the corner, where I was calling Jordan Davis a bust. I was saying, look, it's fine. He was drafted 12th overall. He's the 3rd on the depth chart. You don't expect the 12th overall pick to be 3rd on the depth chart. Yeah, perfect 10 for Max to call. So I was saying, like, look, this team's really good, but just because they're really good doesn't mean they don't miss on some picks. And Jordan Davis, I think they missed on him. Like, he hasn't made an impact play in his career. His shining moment was chasing down Josh Allen, and that's about it. And he's, we don't have to like jump over hoops to make this guy out to be more than he is. Boy, did he ball the fuck out. Boy, did he shut me the fuck up. I loved it. Loved every second of it. Cannot be happier right now to be eating crow. Cannot be happier to be making this video where, like, hey, hit thumbs down, Pat doesn't know ball. Because Jordan Davis was an impact player, and I did not think I was going to be saying that at all this season, let alone this game. But boy, was he an impact player. Chasing down Matthew Stafford on 4th and 2, forcing the punt. Had a couple key tackles. Blocking, obviously, to end the game, to block that kick. Not only to block the kick, to take it to the house and cover for some people. I gotta eat crow. And again, I'm more than happy to do it. I am thrilled to be making this video where Jordan Davis shut me the fuck up. This is not a video of like, yeah, but let's see if he can do it in week 2. I don't care. I don't care if he can do it in week 2, in week 3. If he doesn't do it for the rest of the season, guess what? That's what I kind of expected from Jordan Davis. What I didn't expect from Jordan Davis was for him to go out there and to literally take over this game on the defensive line. Not Jalen Carter, not Nolan Smith, whose jersey I'm wearing right now. No, it was Jordan Davis. Jordan Davis stood out in neon in this game, making impact after impact after impact play. One of the things that sparked that video that I made last week was a tweet that was like, Jordan Davis said, "It's a great game and 5 tackles." And I was like, come on, man. No, this game we just watched was a true great performance from Jordan Davis. And I'm not just saying that because of the block, but obviously that's a huge part of it. But in crunch time, to come up the way he did, I don't know ball. Obviously, we didn't like the first half. But I think in the first half, Zach Bond was the MVP. And in the second half, I mean, the offense really finally arrived and stood out. You could pick some players. But in the second half, you gotta go Jordan Davis. Because when they needed it most, he stepped up. And when they scored the touchdown late and they went for the 2-point conversion, don't get it. It's like, shit, this is setting up to be the playoff game. This is setting up to, you need the defense to come up clutch and get a stop. And I had no faith. Like, I'm being real with you. I'm doing a live stream on this and TikTok, and I'm just like, look, like, I think they're going to lose the game, but that's okay because you're going to end up losing games. We all know that. And I like the fight that this team had. They didn't pack it up. They didn't go home. They didn't quit. And then, boom. Jordan Davis blocked it. I will try to splice in the video of my reaction to it because it was actually really good. My natural reaction to it. If they block, I'm gonna be happy. And I like being happy. Like, happy's like, it's fun, I woke up in a good mood today. I like that good mood to continue. For about 2 hours, it wasn't a great mood. Now we're back to being an okay mood. 44 yards. Come on, man. Come on. Block it. Block it. Miss it. Block it. Miss it. Block it. Miss it. Miss it. Miss it. Don't hit it. Miss it. Block it. Block, miss. Block, miss. He blocked it! Oh, my God. He blocked it! Oh, my God. Oh, my God. And he's taking it to the house. And not only that, it's going to cover. They're going to cover. Oh, my God. He blocked it. He blocked it. Where's the dude who said bye? Where? Show yourself. Oh, my God. Oh, my God. Get over here. Get over here. I need a hug. I need a hug. Get over here. Get over here. He blocked it. His whole team hates him. His whole team hates him. Oh, my God. Holy shit. Holy shit. Oh, my God. That is unbelievable. I take back everything I said about Jordan Davis. I am sorry. Give him a lifetime contract. Holy shit. Oh, my God. I am so sorry. Holy shit. Go Birds. Go Birds. Oh, I shit on that dude for 5 years now, and he just told me to eat a dick. And I'm not going to say it because that someone will clip that. But let's go. Let's go. Look at the big man get downfield, too. Oh, I feel so bad because I feel like my neighbors, they don't give a fuck about sports, and they're probably like, dude, shut the fuck up right now. But, oh, my God, I don't get this excited about regular season wins, but never expect them to block it again. Holy God. Yeah, Tate on the YouTube is just like, wow. Hey, that's all you can really say at this point. Oh, my God. Oh, there was some really hot chick in the chat earlier, so, like, the refs are always giving it to the Eagles. I don't know how you gave it to them that time. They just took that shit. They took it. They just grabbed it from you. But I can't be happier. I've never been one of those guys that, like, would rather be right and have my team suffer for it. Like, no, I'm fine with being wrong if my team ends up winning. And that happened today. So I just need to address it for people because I know they're going to come at me. I mean, I have all my mentions muted on Twitter. But I know that they're going to end up coming at me on Twitter being like, LOL, clown. That's fine. That is perfectly fine. Jordan Davis, you earned this. All right? Jordan Davis earned these flowers that I'm handing over. He earned this apology because of the way that he performed. I would have liked to see it obviously earlier, but I'm happy it showed up at all because I had no faith that it was going to show up. So to everybody out there that's probably tweeting at me or commenting, you're right. You're right. I don't know ball. Hit thumbs down. Now's the part where I ask you to like and subscribe if you want to. That'd be cool. But I think it's important to own it when you make a mistake. I was wrong in this instance. He showed up. He balled out, and we are all better for it. The Eagles are 3-0. Go Birds, obviously. But yeah, subscribing would be cool. I'd appreciate it, and I'll see you guys next week. Okay, this is melding both of my worlds together. You've got movies, you've got sports. For many of you guys that know, I have 2 YouTube channels. I have this one, and then I have a channel called The Recaps, where I break down, I recap television shows, and then I do movie reviews. It's the 2 things that I love more than anything, other than, like kids and ice cream. But those are my 2 hobbies. And it's pretty rare when you have a sports movie out. It's even more rare when you've got 2 sports movies out. And that's what we have going on right now, where you have him, and in about a week, you're going to have The Smashing Machine, the movie about Mark Kerr starring Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson. I don't know why I said Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson. I think if I just said Dwayne Johnson, hit thumbs down for that. That's embarrassing by me. He's always going to be The Rock to me. I saw both. I saw The Smashing Machine tonight. So let's talk about which one you should see. Should you see him? Should you see The Smashing Machine? Should you see both? Should you see none? All right, so we'll start off with him, the football movie, the one that's out right now. This one is a production from Jordan Peele, obviously the horror writer, and it's got horror tones to it. But essentially the story is about the future of professional football. This kid's going to be the number 1 overall pick, and he suffers an attack where he is left with a severe head injury. I mean, he's got staples in his head and scaring teams off. He gets a chance to train with his idol, the greatest of all time, a guy who's won 9 championships, and this is Marlon Wayans' character, a guy named Isaiah White, and he gets to train with him because what this kid wants is to go to the team that Isaiah White plays for, a team called the Saviors. He wants to be the heir apparent. He wants to learn under this guy, and he thinks it's going to go a long way. If he trains with him and he passes the test, then the Saviors will end up taking him in the draft. So he takes the opportunity, obviously. He goes and he starts training, and he quickly realizes that Isaiah White's methods are bizarre. And it becomes a question of, like, how badly do you want to be great? With this movie, yeah, it sucked. It wasn't good. I thought Marlon Wayans was great. Like, he was the only really good thing about it. But this movie's dripping with symbolism, and it's just shoved right in your face. And as a sports fan, the first third of the movie, they're explaining the NFL draft. And because you know ball, I mean, look, after my Jordan Davis take, I don't know if I know ball. But I know what the draft is. I know how the draft process works. I know that if you're the number 1 overall pick and you suffer an injury, you're still going to be drafted in the first round. They're making it out to be like this kid's going to go undrafted because of this head injury. And I'm sitting in the theater getting annoyed. Like, did the person that wrote this movie, did the director, clearly Jordan Peele didn't. Does anybody watch football? Does anybody follow the sport? Because this idea that he was going to be the number 1 overall pick, and he is like, this isn't a bad draft year. Like, this is supposed to be the future. The idea that he's going to drop in the draft to undrafted, absurd. So I was getting pissed off because I'm like, man, non-ball knowers wrote this movie. But I think this movie's banking on the Jordan Peele angle, and they want so badly to confuse the public to thinking that it's a Jordan Peele movie, when in reality, it's just made by his production company, and he is a producer. But it sucked. The end of it is completely absurdly ridiculous. It's not a horror movie. I thought Us was one of the best movies and the most creative horror movies ever. Obviously, his first one that I'm drawing a blank on, that put him on the map. I forget. I really forget. Hit thumbs down again for this. Like, it's late. It's like 2 a.m. right now as I record this. But that one that everybody was like loving, like, that was awesome. I thought Nope was trash, and this was like Nope level. But I think that Jordan Peele, like, you get the sense of, like, you know what a Jordan Peele movie is. This movie in him was as if 3 guys got together and were like, yo, let's write a Jordan Peele movie. That's what it's not good. Not only should you not spend your money on it, you should not see it. There's very little football in it. So, you're not getting that aspect of it. And I can't believe I'm saying this. And this movie's a guilty pleasure for people. Like, Draft Day was a much better football movie. And even that movie is absurdly stupid. But it's, as I said, it's guilty pleasure. But if you're looking for a football horror movie, guess what? You got bait and switch, because that's not it. I mean, it's gory at times, but at no point was I like, oh my God, this is shocking. They tried a few times. Trash. All right, let's move on to the Smashing Machine, though. Maybe that this can bring it all back. I am somebody that many of you guys know. Like, I watch MMA religiously. Pretty much every week I'm watching the UFC card. I try very hard to become a quasi-historian, or at least like have an appreciation for the past. So I was excited for this movie to come out, because I don't think a lot of people know who Mark Kerr is. But The Rock, Benny Safdie, A24, like, a lot of things could go right, but also a lot of things could go wrong with this, because I don't think that any of those combined, I don't think that they're Teflon. And I know a lot of people will just fangirl all over anything A24. If you like IPAs, have a mustache, and like to go thrifting, you probably love A24. Some of their stuff sucks, though. And with this movie, as a diehard UFC fan, if you are one of those, if you are somebody that likes sports movies, if you are somebody that is really dialed into the world of MMA, you probably will enjoy this, because there were plenty of times where I'm like, the Leonardo DiCaprio gif pointing like, oh, look, it's Ryan Bader. And by the way, Ryan Bader was really, really good in this as Mark Coleman. Not overly surprised, though, because Ryan Bader's probably playing Ryan Bader, just with a different name. He's one of the best UFC heavyweights, and he's playing a pioneer of the sport in Mark Coleman. So it wasn't too much of a stretch for him, I imagine. I don't think he's going to, transition this to doing, a period piece. But as for The Rock, though, I mean, for most of the movie, I was like, damn, like, he doesn't look like The Rock. The makeup department did a really good job, and I thought he was doing a really good job. There is one scene in the third act with him and Emily Blunt where they're kind of arguing in their house, and things get really contentious, where it's like all of a sudden I just sat there and I went, oh, the makeup department didn't show up, because all of a sudden The Rock was on screen, and then the next part of the movie, it's like, oh, we're back to Mark Kerr. Essentially, though, it's a biopic. That's what it is. It's not an MMA movie. If you want an MMA movie, go watch Warrior, which is a great movie, by the way. But this is a biopic, and it's a lot of just story, backstory, what the guy was going through, with a little bit of MMA sprinkled in there. The one thing that I did not like as a nerd was Mark Kerr fights primarily in this movie in Pride, which was an MMA organization in Japan. At the time, Pride was the number one MMA organization. That's where everyone was making their money. Oh, well, why were they making all their money in Pride? That's because it was run by the Yakuza. Yeah, it was run by the Japanese mafia. It's well documented, well reported. And there's a scene in this movie where they could easily do a quick mention of this. It's Mark Kerr doing a negotiation for a new contract with Pride, and it's like 4 minutes. And they throw it in there, but it's not exactly like it's necessary. And at one point, the guy goes, like, I got to go talk to my bosses upstairs about this. He's talking about the Yakuza. I wish Mark Kerr in the movie, I wish the writers and Benny Safdie, somebody on the set would have said, yo, we should probably have Mark Kerr and Mark Coleman just mention real quick, I know they got the money. It's run by the Yakuza, because, as I said, that whole backstory is fascinating. I would love a movie on Pride. The other thing that I didn't really like about it was they touch in the second act a lot on his addiction. And they hint at least that he's addicted to steroids. But it's like 0 to 100. There's no lead up to it. It's like, all right, he's fighting. Oh, he's injecting steroids. Oh, look, it says on the bottle, they're addictive. All of a sudden, Emily Blunt says he's acting funny. Now he's in... Like, that to me was really, really rushed. But speaking of Emily Blunt, like, this is a movie where I don't know what was going on when she was on screen because I was staring. If you're an Emily Blunt fan, this is the hottest she's ever looked. She was also really good in it, for the record. She was very, very good. I think if you're a fan, though, of biopics, you'll like it. I think there's going to be a lot of people that go into this expecting a sports movie, and they're going to be bored out of their mind. So if you don't like biopics, just a heads up. You're probably not going to like this movie. If you don't like MMA and you don't like biopics, just skip it entirely. However, I enjoyed it. I like the little nod to, as I said, like noticing guys in there. That was cool. But as far as the sports angle of it, like, they didn't really have a ton of it. So in closing, I would say go see the Smashing Machine. It's worth watching. Save yourself the 90 minutes and never see him. Him is 90 minutes and an hour in. I was like, we can wrap this up, please God. The Smashing Machine was worth watching. I do feel like there's probably a few other MMA storylines that should have been covered other than Mark Kerr. But that's like neither here nor there. I guess what I'm trying to say is, like, his story wasn't shocking or unique, so I'm kind of curious as to why Benny Safdie and The Rock picked him of all people, because I do think Pride would have been a much better storyline, a much more interesting storyline. But, like, that's really nitpicking. It was a good movie. It was well made. It looked like a Benny Safdie movie or Safdie Brothers movie. It's worth watching. It's worth your time. Now that's a part of the video, right? So guys, please subscribe to the channel. Hit thumbs up if you like this. Smash that thumbs down button. You probably already have. But subscribing is the most important, because I need subscribers. I desperately need subscribers. And once I hit 1,000 subscribers, as I said, like, I'll stop begging. All right, I'll stop pouring out for subscribers. But thumbs up, thumbs down, comment, whatever you guys want. And then if you end up seeing either of these movies, let me know what you think. I will leave. Super Bowl champion CJ Gardner Johnson, once again a free agent after he was released on Tuesday by the Houston Texans. Texans and the Eagles worked out a trade in the offseason, sending CJ Gardner Johnson to Houston for former 2022 first-round pick Kenyon Green, who hasn't panned out for Philly at all. Initially that trade goes down, you think, okay, well, the Eagles just got their right guard replacement and their offensive line set, and then he just sucked. Kenyon Green has been on the practice squad, off the practice squad, elevated for depth purposes, but let's be real, it's probably not going to happen here in Philly for him. And it clearly didn't work out in Houston for CJ Gardner Johnson. Now the question, if you're the Eagles, do you bring him back? Like, I'm going to be real with you guys. I love CJ Gardner Johnson. Like, you can't make me not love this guy. And I think a lot of Eagles fans initially will see this release and they'll try to disparage what CJ Gardner Johnson meant to the Eagles last year. They'll try to downplay his impact on the field, both like with his play and with his mouth. And that's fine. Like, CJ Gardner Johnson's going to rub people the wrong way, not just teammates, but fans as well. Obviously, everybody remembers in Philly when he went to Detroit after his first go-around in Philly, and he pissed off a lot of people by saying that the Detroit Lions were as good, if not better, than the Eagles, who just went to the Super Bowl. I will also remind you, and this is just a coincidence, but the next season without C.J. Gardner Johnson, they were terrible, and then they bring C.J. Gardner Johnson back, and they go to the Super Bowl. Again, I think it's coincidence, but I looked at C.J. Gardner Johnson as a player that truly got Philly. Like, he was the embodiment of Philadelphia. He talked shit. He backed it up when he was with the Eagles. I can't talk about with Houston, but when he was with the Eagles, he backed it up. He was a really, really good, strong player for this squad. But look, his mouth got him in trouble. And he's gone on podcasts before talking about why exactly he thinks he got traded from Philly. Eagles saying they couldn't pay everybody. It was a money situation. CJ Gardner Johnson saying, no, I think it was more of like a Vic Fangio situation. He didn't really jive with me. Whatever. So because of that reason, I don't think they will bring him back. But for everybody out there who initially sees this video and they just throw it to the wayside and like, no, they're not. Why would we bring him back? The backup safety right now, and there's only one for both strong and free, the backup safety is Sidney Brown. Can you improve on Sidney Brown? It is that simple. Is CJ Gardner Johnson an improvement from Sidney Brown? The answer is yes. Let's not make Sidney Brown out to be more than he is. He was a third-round pick. He's fine. If you throw him in there in a pinch, okay. But would you rather have CJ Gardner Johnson, a proven starter in this league, or Sidney Brown, who has been depth up until this point? The guy that like you would look at going into a season and go, hey, can he take that starting safety spot? Oh, no, he can't. Because it ends up being Reed Blankenship again. It ends up being Andrew Makuba as your starting safeties. Obviously, Makuba was drafted in the second round, so you're not going to sit that guy too long. But when you're looking at a depth situation and a veteran bringing him in, yeah, I'm bringing C.J. Gardner Johnson in. The reasons why I don't think it's going to happen is the Vic Fangio thing. I do believe that. I believe C.J. Gardner Johnson when he says, yeah, it wasn't money. That was the excuse they gave me. It was the fact that the old coach wasn't really liking to how I did things. I buy that 100% because when the C.J. Gardner Johnson trade happened, I was like, well, why the hell are they trading CJ Gardner Johnson for? They just signed him to like a 3-year deal. But the other reason why I don't think that they would do it is because he's already got his ring. He's already won. And now you're after one thing as a player probably, and that's money. Well, how do you get the most money? Well, in his situation, being released 3 games into the season, the stock is very low. You know, at this point, you've had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 teams that couldn't wait to get rid of CJ Gardner Johnson. If you're a hockey fan out there, CJ Gardner Johnson's basically the equivalent of Tony D'Angelo. You know, he's got talent for sure, but you've got organizations who are just like lining up to go like, would you please take him off our hands because we can't do this anymore. And I think it's up to CJ Gardner Johnson to look himself in the mirror and realize, like, do I want to have, you know, probably a long sustained NFL career, or do I want to probably cut my career 3 to 5 years short because I'm just kind of an asshole? But that's worth mentioning, is the fact that like there are teams out there that were just like, look, we're good, okay? The juice ain't worth the squeeze. And the Eagles, by the way, being one of those teams, not just once but twice. So with CJ Gardner Johnson, with his stock being low at this point, with the Texans trading for him, with him starting and playing poorly, mind you, like he wasn't good in Houston, he's probably looking to redeem himself, and by doing so, he's going to be looking for a starting spot. The Eagles can't give him that. They're going to stick with Andrew Makuba. So if they bring CJ Gardner Johnson in, it would only be in a depth role. Whereas if CJ Gardner Johnson wants to start, there are plenty of teams that will look for an upgrade, that will be a young developmental squad who needs a veteran who won a Super Bowl last year, and they're going to look to bring him in to mentor the younger group. The Eagles are a different breed, though. They're not that. They're looking to win again. I think you can win with CJ Gardner Johnson. I think you bring him back into this Vic Fangio system and you'll see him play and regain his form. I'm confident of that. But what I'm not confident is that if you bring CJ Gardner Johnson in, he's starting. And because of that, he's probably not going to be looking to sign here unless, and I think this is the only way it happens, unless really all 31 other teams aren't all that interested. You know, I expect CJ Gardner Johnson to go to, you know, a Jacksonville, to go to, oh God, like a Seattle, like an Oakland, you know, like one of those teams where you just look at and you go, okay, maybe they're good. You know, Seattle's good. Are they really going to win anything? You know, there might be a GM out there who goes, we're good. We can improve. We can possibly sneak into the playoffs or win our division and all that. Or you've got the teams, as I said, like a Carolina, who's probably not contending for anything. They would look to bring him in. I would 100%. Like if he wants to return, by all means. As I said, when I think about the phrase of like he got that dog in him, CJ Gardner Johnson got that dog in him. Did he rub people the wrong way? 100%. Does he need to look inward on that? Yeah, probably. Will it happen? Probably not. But I thought what he brought to the table, his just mentality, his attitude, I loved it. I couldn't get enough of it. Granted, I didn't have to deal with it every day. I wasn't in the locker room. But what I saw on the field, I loved. I couldn't get enough of. I was disappointed when they let him go. I would absolutely bring him back. What would you guys do out there? Let me know in the comment section. Would you bring him back if he was willing to come back? Or are you good? I'm all right. Let him go somewhere else. We got our team. Please subscribe to the channel. That is important. Subscribing is cool. People are doing it. People are like, I want to be cool. I'm subscribing. You should too. That is called peer pressure. Hit thumbs up if you like this. Smash that thumbs down button if you thought it sucked. That's fine too. You know, it's a free country. I am going to go watch the Phillies now.